Imagine, for a moment, what if Yahoo owned Google today? What if one single meeting changed the entire destiny of the internet? Back in 1998, two young founders walked into the office of a major tech company. They said, "We're willing to sell our search engine for just $1 million. The response they got? "We're not interested." That wasn't just a rejection. It became one of the most expensive mistakes in business history. In the late 1990s, the internet was exploding, but it was pure chaos. Sure, search engines like Yahoo, Alta Vista, and Lycos existed, but they weren't really search engines as we know them. They were more like directories, human-edited lists of websites. If you wanted to find something, you had to browse through categories manually. The results were messy, slow, and often totally irrelevant. Meanwhile, Yahoo was the undisputed king, founded by Jerry Yang and David Filo. Yahoo wasn't just a search tool, it was the homepage of the internet. It had email, news, finance, sports. Millions of users started their day right there. And Yahoo's core belief was this: users should stay on Yahoo. Search wasn't their main business. Advertising was the longer people stayed on their site, the more ads they would see. And that very belief would later become their greatest weakness. Over at Stanford University, two PhD students were working on a research project. Their names were Larry Page and Sergey Brin. They asked a simple question: what if we ranked websites based on trust? Instead of just counting keywords on a page, they decided to count the links pointing to it. If a lot of other websites link to a page, it must be important. They called this new system page. Their project soon evolved into a search engine they named Google. But here's the twist: they didn't actually want to build a company, they just wanted to sell their technology. So they approached Yahoo. The offer: around $1 million. For a giant like Yahoo, this was pocket change. But Yahoo's executives thought, we don't want users leaving Yahoo to search elsewhere. Google was just too good at sending users away, and that went against their entire strategy. So, they said no. Now, here's what most people don't get. Yahoo didn't reject Google because it was too expensive. They rejected it because they didn't understand it. Yahoo saw itself as a media company. Google saw itself as a technology company. Yahoo's goal was to keep users trapped inside its portal. Google's goal was to send users to the best possible result as fast as possible. These were two completely opposite visions for the future. For Yahoo, search was just a secondary feature. For Google, search was everything. This wasn't just a business disagreement. It was ego. Yahoo was already the giant. Google was just a little research project. Why would a king buy a small, unproven experiment? History shows us that giants fall when they stop respecting innovation. After the rejection, Google did something unexpected. They didn't quit. Instead, they raised funding. In 1999, venture capital firms invested millions, and Google's growth exploded. Users absolutely loved the clean, simple homepage. There was no clutter, no distractions, just a search bar. Meanwhile, Yahoo kept expanding its portal. More news, more ads, more content. But their search quality didn't get any better. In fact, for years, Yahoo actually ended up using Google's search technology to power its own site. Yes! You heard that right! The company that rejected Google became dependent on it. Google focused relentlessly on speed, relevance, and user experience. Then came a revolutionary idea: ads based on what you were searching for. If you search for buy shoes, you see ads for shoes. Simple, powerful, and incredibly profitable. Google's revenues skyrocketed. By the mid-2000s, the turning point was clear. Google was dominating search, and Yahoo was losing ground fast. Google expanded into Gmail, Maps, Android, and YouTube. Search became the gateway to the entire internet. Yahoo tried to catch up, but it was too late. They went through constant leadership changes, strategy, confusion, and a series of missed acquisitions, they even rejected buying Facebook for $1 billion. The company that once ruled the internet was now just struggling to survive. Eventually, Yahoo was sold for a tiny fraction of its former value. Meanwhile, Google became a $1 trillion company. This story isn't just about money. It's about vision. Yahoo optimized for short-term ad revenue. Google optimized for user trust. Yahoo wanted control. Google wanted relevance. And in the digital world, relevance wins. Every single time. The biggest mistake Yahoo made wasn't just rejecting Google, it was fundamentally misunderstanding the future of the internet. Search wasn't a feature, it was the foundation. So, what if Yahoo had said yes? Imagine that alternate reality. Maybe Google never becomes independent. Search remains a secondary feature. Innovation slows to a crawl. Would Android even exist? Would YouTube have grown the same way? Would the internet be as fast and intelligent as it is today? One decision in one meeting changed everything. Business history teaches us a brutal truth. The biggest risks aren't in making investments. The biggest risks are in ignoring innovation. Yahoo had the chance, they had the money, and they had the power, but they didn't have the vision. And Google did. That's why today, Google shapes the internet. And Yahoo is mostly remembered as the company that said no